Absolutely. So if you want to position yourself as the CEO, so power dress, dress to impress, and dress always to make sure that you are dressed for the next role so that people perceive you as influential enough, powerful enough as a thought leader. So it should not be more than 30 or 60 seconds, not more than 75 words. And what you should follow a structure even for your elevator intro. So the first thing is start with an attention grabbing hook or a question. Second thing is introduce the problem. That is, talk about what is the problem you're addressing. Third thing is talk about the solution. Fourth thing is what is the unique value you are adding. And the fifth part is differentiate yourself from competition. And the last is end with the CT. Because why are you saying all this? There is a reason why you're saying all this. You need to get to the point. So end with the CT. Like I said earlier, first impressions are not the last impressions. They can be worked on. And I found that the feedback I got from my friends, which I mentioned even in my LinkedIn post, was that I was very talkative. So what did I do to work on that? I wanted to come across as empathetic, warm, friendly, but I'm coming across as intimidating and talkative. So I took a step back and I decided that the spotlight would not be on me, it would be on the other person. So I should listen more. 60% of the time I should listen and only 40% I should talk. I practiced my 1-minute intro so that I wouldn't talk too much, spoke slowly, actually counted the words. Because the best speakers, again, hardly use more than 110 to 115 words in a minute. I would use 125 to 130. So I worked on that. And of course, on paying complete attention and focusing on the listener. And the last thing I want to leave you on this slide with is that we are all work in progress. So in the beginning, if you feel that I'm not really making a great impression, I'm not good at networking, it doesn't matter. We have to make progress and we have to believe that failure is success in progress. One thing I've seen is a lot of people struggle with how do I start? How do I even start on this journey? Because I'm completely clueless about the kind of impression which I'm leaving on people. So there are some who's and what's here. This is what the self-evaluation we had done before starting off on this week, the week-long journey of people see me as, which is what you think people see you as, what you want them to see you as, what is the gap, who is your role model, who embodies all those qualities in terms of walk, talk, appearance that you would like to see in yourself, or you would like people to see you as. This question I did not ask you, but I want to you all to reflect on it, which is which situation did you feel you made your best first impression? Which situation did you make your worst first impression, and how did that make you feel? So here we come to how can we be more self-aware? First thing is to understand who are you and how you come across to people. That is self-awareness. The second thing is acceptance that, okay, this is the way I am. The third thing is, of course, knowing how to leverage your strengths and minimize your weaknesses. We can't eliminate our weaknesses entirely, but we can learn how to leverage our strengths and minimize our weaknesses. The fourth step is complete and unconditional self-love, because only when we accept who we are, that's when we can evolve into the best we can be. And this is a journey of evolution and transformation. I wouldn't call it self-improvement, because improvement means that you're starting from a place which is bad, which is not where you should be. That is why I don't use the word self-improvement. I use the word transformation. I use the word evolution. And in order to transform or evolve into the best you can be, you've got to accept and love yourself as you are. Great. So we are now going on to appearance. We cannot minimize the importance of appearance and clothes. They can either elevate your image, add to your confidence, and elevate your personal brand as such, or they can, the 3 Ds which I've talked about, distract from your message, detract from your charisma, and destroy your brand. So they can make or break you. I feel that for us to feel good, we must look good. When we don't look good, we are always kind of fiddling, we are nervous, we are wondering whether we are looking okay, adjusting stuff. It doesn't leave a good impression. So on hands, we've already talked enough about them. Hands must mirror what you're saying, because I told you that visually, it's far more impactful when you use the hands and your message gets reinforced and absorbed and retained better. Eyebrow flash. Has anybody used this? Often in office, you've seen, especially the millennials, they'll do this. Hey. And I used to find it very funny, but I've realized that when you do this, it means that I'm friendly, I'm approachable, I'm a warm person. So it helps to establish that instant connect. Smile. So the fake smile, how are you? People are, they're smiling only with this part, right? A real smile goes up and your eyes actually crinkle, right? So you can see it here. You use your entire cheek muscles, and that's called a genuine smile. And you can practice that. I'm not saying that it's not possible. You can practice. The minute you see a phone and you see women in front of their phone, what happens when they're taking a selfie, right? The phone is coming here and the smile is automatically coming, right? So you can practice that even with the customer. You use smile, eye contact. All these help to release oxytocin. Oxytocin is the like hormone, and therefore it improves your likability and trust. Launch stance. Here we are talking about the shoulders held back, no arms crossing, no fidgeting, no touching your face, right? We talked about voice modulation, Chimu. You had talked about having a high-pitched voice. And again, research proves that people believe that those with lower pitched voices are more confident, authoritative, and influential. So what I'm trying to get at is everybody's voice sounds best and is most clear in a certain range. You can discover your range and you can work on it by recording your voice, listening to it, and also taking feedback. We already talked about the importance of listening. Empathetic listening is another thing which is very, very important because when people think that you're not paying attention or not understanding, then they obviously lose interest in you. We already talked about the conversation starters, which should in some way find common ground or link with something interesting happening either in the meeting or in the office. For example, in the office, you could ask a question like, what is the latest project you're working on? Or what has been the highlight of your day so far? Or how has your day been going so far? All these are questions which are different from normal, and they could be great conversation starters. Use humor. Humor always connects. I remember that in one of the networking meetings I had gone to, I told them in my last meeting, I couldn't even, I couldn't even open my mouth. I was late. I felt so uncomfortable. Thank goodness everybody's here. Here is so friendly. So I used that humor and I said it was like somewhere in the back of the world and I arrived late and I was all in a mess and so on. And that person actually empathized with me and said, yeah, I felt the same. Mirroring, paraphrasing. So have you ever observed a child listening to a story? What do they do when you're telling them a story?
They ask questions.
Yeah, but more than that, they repeat what you say. And they lived happily up. And they lived happily ever after. And the king went into the battlefield. So they also repeat that, right? And the fox went and he saw this. They also repeat everything. So mirroring, paraphrasing, especially when people repeat or mirror your expressions, it means they are highly interested in you. So you can observe that. And you can also use it. For example, when you're smiling, I also smile. When you're using more hand gestures, then I also. Have you observed two friends talking? They'll be smiling at the same time. They will be probably using a lot of hands. And that's how you know that there is a connect. Use a lot of that in your conversations in order to establish that connect. Paraphrasing helps them to understand that you've listened with attention to whatever they are saying. Of course, be authentic. Priya, you were talking about that, right? That what you are, what you should be authentic. You can't fake it for long. So it's best to be authentic. Open-ended questions we asked about. Now, there's a behavior expert called Chase Hughes, who's given two very important cues on how to use sensory words and adjectives in order to instantly establish a rapport with people. For example, people experience the world through one of their senses. Primarily, they use one sense dominantly in order to experience the world. That's called the primary intelligence type. For example, a musician will experience the world through their ears. So they will say, oh, that sounds great. I'd love to hear that. Those are the kind of sentences they will use in their conversations, and you must mirror the same thing. So you must also say, I can't wait to hear back from you, and so on. Similarly, with a trainer, a personal trainer, the primary sense they use is touch. So they may say that this feels good. And then you must use similar phrases. A painter may use something which is more visually. I can see that. Or we see eye to eye. That's how they speak. So use similar kind of lingo and repeat that in the conversation for an instant connect. The second thing is adjectives. A lot of people use superb, awesome, that's really cool. So use the same ones, not immediately though, but sometime during the conversation to establish that connect. So these are sensory and adjectives based on the fact that we experience the world primarily through one of our senses, depending on what is our worldview, and that's how we see and hear everything in the world. How do you get it right? Use people's names often because that's the most sweetest sound in the world for most people. Use positive words like you, me, definitely, surely, absolutely, value. There are so many. We'll not get into that, but all of you know that. Pay attention, have some stories ready, radiate energy and positivity. So there's something called a triple threat. So when you use eye contact, your hands, as well as your eyes and your body language. So eyes, hands, and body language. You cross all three levels of trust. This is how people decide whether they are trusting you or not, based on your eyes, your hands, and your body language. And when all three are positive, you cross all three levels in order to establish trust. So use all three effectively. This is obvious. Use words which are more visual. Give before you ask. Be punctual. And if you're nervous about any meeting, keep a buddy or a friend along with you. That reduces your nervousness. We'll very quickly go through how do you know when you're getting it right. All this is fine. Appearance, body language, communication, show your hands, posture, eye contact, smile, etc., etc. Everything we've got. Use positive language, carry positive energy with you, think that you're excited and you will be, and so on. But how do you know that you're getting it right? How do you know?
Feedback.
Apart from feedback, you will be able to understand even from the conversation itself. First of all, they'll remember your name. I'll again go back to the CII event, and I asked a question, and I said that I'm Chitra Singh, I'm so and so, and I asked a question, and I had thought very carefully before going about that question and whom to ask, which speaker to ask. The speaker who spoke about diversity and equity and the glass ceiling, I asked her the question, what do you think are the reasons women hold back in their careers? And are they the 4 M's, the M's which block women and hold us back, which are mobility, motherhood, and marriage. These are not 4, sorry, 3. And the 4th she added was mother-in-law, but I did not say that. Yeah, so I was talking about that. What I'm trying to tell you is preparation in advance. And I asked that question and I mentioned my name. When I went outside, a lot of people remembered my name. So they'll remember your name. They'll start adding to your story. Yeah, that's what happened to me also when I had gone by metro the other day and this is what happened, etc., etc. They'll start adding to your stories and they will embellish it and start talking. And then they say, absolutely, exactly, 100%. So you know that they are echoing what you're saying and they are agreeing with what you're saying. And then they will ask for your LinkedIn, or immediately they'll pick up their phone, ask for your number. They'll start sharing their LinkedIn profile and so on. Or they'll ask for a selfie with you, or they'll take a photo with you. All these are ways to understand. This is not for an office meeting, of course. It's networking. But your office colleague may probably say, let's catch a coffee together later, or ask for your advice on a specific business situation, or talk about the boss and say, oh, I was not able to understand XYZ in this. And since you worked with this person for so long, probably you'll be able to guide me. They'll ask for your advice and guidance. Then you know you're getting it right in an office setting. And best part is then they start introducing you around. There are certain tricks which you can use before every networking meeting. One is, of course, to use positive language and reframe the situation in a way which makes you feel positive. For example, again, there was a research which was done on students before they took an exam. And one group of students was told to talk about how nervous they were and how they felt before giving the exam. This nervous group was, there was another group which talked about how excited and how prepared and how knowledgeable they felt, and they thought they'll ace the exam. So you can guess what happened to the nervous group and excited group. The excited group got better marks. And it is obvious that the way we think influences the way we behave, and the way we behave influences the way people perceive us. Just to end, getting people to like you is merely the other side of liking them. So if you're genuinely interested in people and genuinely want to connect with them, they can make it out that you're not a fake, and they will definitely like you in return. Successful people are always looking for opportunities to help others. Unsuccessful people always ask, what is in it for me? Right? Because they have a short-term view. They don't have a long-term view. And that is why they keep asking, from this transaction, what do I get? From this 1 hour, what do I get? They don't have a long-term view and they don't have a vision to help others.